I haven't.
We're good.
Yeah. We are live streaming our last college council meeting of the year. My name is Ricky Shabazz. I have the honor and privilege of being the president of City College, and I am joined by the leadership of our campus. College Council is the highest level of governance at our college. We have representatives of the various constituency groups. We welcome agenda items. You can put forth an agenda item one or two ways, either by emailing Angel or Janelli in my office, and or by emailing one of the leaders who I'm going to introduce momentarily. San Diego City College acknowledges that our campus sits on the traditional land of the Kumeyaay Nation. We recognize the Kumeyaay people, past and present, and their land with honor and gratitude. We'll begin with a roll call. Mona is the president-elect. She is not here maybe yet. Tilly is vice president of instruction.
Present.
Robbie is the dean of information and learning technology. Present. Caesar is the public information officer. Daniel is the spa rep. Present. Suna is the president of Chairs Cabinet, and congratulations, I understand she was elected for the second term. I love hanging out. She is here. Susan is the dean of institutional effectiveness.
Present.
Dee is the associate dean in the management rep, if we can update that, Angel.
Present.
Diego, the reason why we all are here, our president, very last meeting as the president of the student government. And we do want to recognize you at some point in the meeting. John Parker, and I am struggling over here because I just realized I forgot my glasses. John is the vice president of administrative services. Marciano is the vice president of students. Here. Sean is the president of the classified senate.
I'm here.
And Maria Jose is the president of the academic senate, also in her last meeting as the president of the academic senate. I want to acknowledge her leadership as well. Yes, you did. We appreciate you making sure. And I want to publicly acknowledge the leadership of Maria Jose. She has moved our college forward with a focus on policies and procedures. As you look at the website, a lot more transparent in the efforts to communicate with our campus. And also joining us today are two visitors that I'll take the time to acknowledge right now. Our new ASG president, let's welcome Gnarly. Am I saying that right? You are a welcome addition. As today is Diego's last meeting, we will formally do something in a couple of minutes. Also joining us from South Carolina by way of Georgia is Patrick. Patrick is going through a presidential training program by the name of Lincoln. I went through it, John Parker went through it, Denise Wisenhunt went through it. It was started, I don't know, 25 or 30 years ago. One of the people who started the Lincoln Institute was Constance Carroll. It is named after the late emeritus chancellor of Ventura and the former president of LA Southwest College. It is a national training program for aspiring community college presidents. I was paired, as I have been, with 4 or 5 other mentees with Patrick, who we're working to prepare him on what not to do as a college president as much as what to do. Let's welcome Patrick to City College. Show him some City College. Would you like to introduce yourself, Patrick?
Well, let's do it briefly. So, as Dr. Shabazz said, I am Patrick Ben. I'm currently the executive director of Access and Opportunity at Midland Central College in Columbia, South Carolina. It's really been nice being here and feeling the city love, throughout the time I've been here. And being able to tour the campus and see all the great things that you're doing here at City College and all the great things that Ricky is doing, as I shadow him and staying busy in my time here. So I just want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to share in your college council and listen to all the great things. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for acknowledging me, but it really is the team. I work with an amazing group of people, as evident by all these year-end events that we're having 2 or 3 times a day. And speaking of that, we have our veterans event, and so we're going to try to speed this up so that we can acknowledge our veterans. Speaking of acknowledgement, I want to also acknowledge both Tilly and John, who were accepted into the Wheelhouse Professional Development for Aspiring College Presidents. Let's give them a round of applause. And if that's appropriate, we have our professional development coordinator. The most important thing I do as a president is hiring people. That's part of hiring. A commitment to professional development is absolutely imperative. I had a chance to meet with the new hires for their last event of the semester last Friday. And you want to talk about an exciting group. I got to hang out more often with these folks who came to our college. They have a unique perspective of just being happy to work at San Diego City College, which most of us absolutely are. That was a roll call and some additional commentary. With that said, what I'd like, the second item is to take a motion for approval of the minutes from the April 30th meeting. If we could have a motion for approval. Is there a break? So Suna and D seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Would anyone like to abstain or object from the minutes? Minutes pass. We, Robbie, are missing one of our honorees today. You can look at the agenda, maybe shoot her a text to see if we can get her here. If not, no worries, we will acknowledge her. In the meantime, I would like to again acknowledge Diego's work and commitment. 2 terms as the ASG president trustee, got on the news, visited DC, a number of accomplishments. Let's give Diego another. Thank you, certainly for your leadership. Appreciate it. On behalf of the college, we recognize your leadership and your right. Congratulations, Diego. Thank you. And then joining us, and we do something in the summer. I want to thank Marciano. I've been bugging the heck out of him and Adon to do a summer training for ASG. I believe it's on the books, where we just welcome them in. We go to lunch with them. I think we did a little bowling last time. So we're working with Angel to make sure that those dates are locked in over the summer, where we will formally welcome in our new ASG president, Gnarly, in addition to the full ASG student government. With that said, Gnarly, would you like to introduce yourself?
So my name is Gnarly Dalia Ramirez. I'm a born and raised here in San Diego.
Nice.
And I actually went here to San Diego High School.
Okay.
And while I was there, I went to a little enrollment class here at City College. So City College was always my first choice of school. I wasn't looking at other schools like City College.
I didn't even pay her to say that.
And then, well, I just continue my education here. I'm majoring in political science and journalism.
Okay.
And hopefully next year is my last year, and then I'll be transferring. My choice is UC Irvine or Central Park.
Nice.
So I'm just excited to be here and to see like the works that goes behind City College, because honestly it's a beautiful, empowering, educating campus that I just can't wait to advocate for my students.
Absolutely. And we fully expect you to do that. We know we're doing a wonderful job. Let's go around real quick and just do introductions for Gnarly, because I think when I was doing the roll call, she may not have heard everyone's name. And let's maybe start with our academic assistant president. We'll just go around.
María Secretary Pérez, President.
Suna Fezes, President of the Church Company.
Hi, I'm Michelle Fischel. I'm a guest here today. I'm Vice Chancellor of Institutional Innovation and Effectiveness with the District Office.
I'm Susan Murray. I am the Dean of Institutional Effectiveness here at City.
Welcome to the Office and the Information Officer.
I'm Sean Ryan. I support classroom technology and I'm also the Classified Senate President.
Angela Waleshi, I'm the executive assistant to.
Welcome, I'm Dee Armstrong, I'm the Associate Dean of Nursing.
Daniel Gonzalez, I'm the library support, I'm the supervisor of the library, and also the supervisory group representative.
Good afternoon, welcome, Rob Newton.
Patrick Van, from Minnesota College. Good to see you.
Welcome, John Park, Vice President of Administrative Services.
And Nardi, there'll be a test at the end of this meeting on everybody's name, no joke. Welcome to College Council. This is a place where you advocate for students, and both Marciano, myself, and Don will go over this, as well as working with the Academic Senate. Students have a voice at our college, and you are the reason why we are here. So super proud of you and look forward. I typically will go to the ASG at the beginning of the semester. We have a student forum at the beginning of the semester. We try to have at least lunch once a semester. In addition to being the student rep on this council, the ASG president also serves as a trustee in our district and will have some duties related to that. So you're going to be very busy in addition to providing leadership to your student governance council. And the thing that I just remind students of is that you're a student first. So want to uplift you and provide any support for you and the students on campus. So congratulations again on being elected by your peers to serve as the ASG president. If our other colleague comes in,
She was with the paper.
okay. Well, then on behalf of the college, we wanted to acknowledge that Majda, our supervisor here at our college, was accepted or was acknowledged rather as the 2024 San Diego City College Administrator of the Year by the San Diego chapter of the American Association of Women in Community Colleges. And that is not written. I had to remember that piece. Let's give Majda a round of applause. Robbie, from her behalf, also our communications faculty, Dina Shelton, was also recognized by the same organization. Let's give her a round. And Angel, let's make sure that Deanna gets a certificate as well. I didn't receive notification that Deanna was acknowledged. They let me know that Majda was, and I didn't find out until I went to the event last Friday that Deanna was also acknowledged. So we'll make sure that Deanna gets a certificate as well. We have some guests every year. The college and the district participate in a climate survey. And I want to thank Dr. Fishtal for coming along with Dr. Murray to provide an update on the campus climate survey. So I will turn it over to you.
Well, first of all, thank you for putting it on the agenda. I'm here just to set some context because your dean here is going to do this awesome representation of the college specific climate survey data. So I presented to the board, the director of IE at the district presented to the board as well as the cabinet 2 to 3 months ago now. What we really looked at was institution-wide, the climate institution-wide in the district. Kind of what are the trends? So if we started the survey back in 2010, this was conducted in 2022. We really want to see, what's gone up, what's gone down in terms of people's experience here within the entire district. For 2022, we added a few questions, but what I wanted you all to know, one of the reasons that we want you to be looking specifically at your college data is that we want to change the survey moving forward. Our chancellor in particular, as former vice chancellor of human resources, really sees value in making changes so that we won't have necessarily the trend data moving forward, but we'll have more intentional and thoughtful survey around the climate throughout the district. So that's the intent for today. Dean Murray is going to look at specific City College data. You'll notice there isn't a lot of movement in the trends, but what you do have available to you are a number of different resources if you do want to dig into the data. And I would suggest that the dashboards that were created both for the district and the individual college is the place to do some deep dives. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Dean Murray.
Right, thank you very much. And I want to give credit because the compilation of all of this data across four survey administrations, was really in the hands of Natalia Alarcon and James Sykes in the district office of research and planning. And they really have put together some amazing tools to look at this information. And that was one of the reasons that I was asked to bring this to you. So I'm starting out with a couple of slides from the presentation to the board as an introduction. Go to the next one, please. The purpose of the survey is really, it has multiple intents. One is to support, in slightly different order, our IDEAS acronym, diversity, equity, inclusion, access, and anti-racism across the district, enhance the campus environment. We're focusing on the employee survey today, but there is a parallel survey for students. And if that's something that this group is interested in hearing more about, we can come back with that presentation. And then to foster visibility and information sharing and create that common knowledge base, again, one of the reasons why we're here today. And then look at longitudinal data. And as Dr. Fishman mentioned, we have used this format of the survey over the past 5 administrations, but we'll be looking at changing that in the future. When we went through it this time, I think there was some sense that it's time for an update. There are some things in here that are maybe not in as close alignment with some of our current efforts and initiatives across the district. So next, I think we've got the full version here. If you want to skip ahead a couple more. There. So this is a little bit about how the survey is organized. You can see the main themes here. The two at the top are really institutional characteristics. Are employees experiencing support and a sense of belonging, and are they observing cultural responsiveness in how the institution interacts with students? Then the darker blue areas are individual personal characteristics that can interact with the environment, and they can be the basis of experiencing exclusion or potentially discrimination. And then the lighter blue in the middle are things that, the exclusion category actually wrapped around. In this center are things that you can witness. You may not experience it directed toward you personally, but you may witness it experienced for something else, and it's something that the district has wanted to capture in this documentation. So, Sean, if we can go out to the web pages. There are multiple reports here, and we want to look at the one tab to the left. Thank you. And then if you can increase the screen size. Perfect. This is the report, the full data report for City College. And I'm going to give you kind of an overview of the structure. It is more than 60 pages, so we're not going to spend a lot of time getting into the details.
You mean you're not going to go over all 60?
Yeah. Sean, if you want to just pass me the mouse, it's probably easier for me to drive at this point, since I have read all 60 pages. Thank you. Show off. I know, it's my job, what can I say? So this is just an overview of the survey discrimination. The most recent administration was in the spring of 2022, so it's been a couple of years, but that also allowed for this compilation across the multiple iterations, and you'll see that in a minute. So that was during the pandemic, and kind of at the tail end of our mostly remote operations. We had 223 responses, which represented about 15% of the employee base at that time, and that response rate has been fairly consistent. It's gotten a little closer to 20%, and it's a little lower, but that's not there haven't been a lot of wide swings. This graphic represents the different domains that are part of the survey design. So there are kind of 4 clusters of survey items that are grouped around success and access, education and scholarship, relationships and interactions, institutional viability and vitality. So you can see how these things kind of intersect with the themes that were shared earlier. And then within these domains, there are some specific constructs. Some of these will overlap. You'll see diversity in places, for example. But that is the backbone of the survey design. And so most of the analysis looks at survey items within these clusters. So I'm going to scroll down and kind of share some highlights from each of those 4 domain areas. First. And then we'll talk a little bit more about demographics when we get to the dashboard presentation, because that's a little easier to see there. So the threshold that the district research office has used for analysis is that if they are going to classify something as having a favorable response across the board, it needs to reach a threshold of 75% of the respondents giving a favorable response, whether that's agreeing with the positive statement or disagreeing with the negative statement, such as an experience or observation of discrimination. So this particular domain didn't have anything that crossed that 75% threshold, but you can see the ones that had the highest agreement of focusing efforts on the success of students, having a diverse body of employees, and having an adequate opportunity to engage with participatory governance. Some of the lower responses here had to do with facilities, opportunities for continued professional training, how job performance is evaluated. So those could be areas for improvement. The survey just asks about experiences. It does not get into why people experience these things. So again, that's an area that could be for further investigation. Down to
As you're doing that, some of the future opportunities is when we're digging down to actually do some qualitative work. So bring together folks and have conversations so that we can get more explicit information to help us make decisions in the future.
That's good. I'm going to skip to intergroup relations here, and there's a summary for each of these sections in the full report, and the links to all of these reports and the dashboards will be in the electronic version of these slides that will be up on the website. So here are some highlights from the success and access domain. Oops, sorry, that's a repeat of what I did. Somehow the table of contents does not want to jump to the right place. Okay, here's the one that I wanted. We'll go with
Relations?
education and technology, yeah. I think this is. So, the perception of student life at City is that it enhances student appreciation for diversity, along with support for, identity-based student clubs such as Umana Fuente. And that curriculum and instruction enhance student appreciation for diversity. There was less agreement about, teaching methodologies and what happens in the classroom. And again, when we look at the demographics, about half of the respondents to the survey came from faculty, or responses to the survey. Faculty are the largest group by number of employee category, within the employee categories. So, you know, that could be based on a lack of information, or it could be based on more direct knowledge. For intergroup relations, this one did go above the 75 threshold with City College in welcoming and supportive of BIPOC employees. Close to that, supportive of employees with diverse sexual orientations, disabilities, non-binary or transgender employees. People feeling like they're treated with respect. But there were some questions about how policies are applied and whether people perceive that to be fair and equitable. I'm going to jump to the dashboards because this has a lot of more detailed data. And there are two dashboards. Again, you'll have links to both of them. One is specifically for City College, and then one has the district-wide data. And you can select whether you've seen a comparison of all of the colleges, or you want to drill down to one. But since we're focusing on City today, I'm going to look at this. So this is a Power BI dashboard. Just by brief way of introduction, all of our reporting is going to be transitioning to this format. We have had folks using Tableau for some years now for the dashboards that we produce
Seems like just
internally.
yesterday.
I know, but it's been a good 5 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's when our first dashboards were developed. It was about 5 years ago. So, yeah, because of some technology upgrades and changes and the fact that this is part of the Office 365 suite that we have adopted, you're going to be seeing our reporting transitioning this way as well. So let's see. There are right now, thank you very much. So there are lots of opportunities. You know, this currently is set up to just show the 4 different administrations of the survey. I know that is very tiny at this point. You can see the dates at the bottom. These are characteristics of employees. And here's the age group data.
So I was digging into this a little bit earlier today, and I noticed this significant data point of, you see that on the left-hand side, I think it's 167, I can't see it, the large blue. That's from 2010, and that represents employees who are 55 or older. Back in 2010. And look where we are now in 2022, you really have an equalization around 35 to 64. I thought that was really interesting, just thinking, I've been with the district in some capacity since 2005. And I kind of remember that. And so I just thought that was really, really interesting to see how that shifted.
Yeah.
Can I ask a clarifying question? Yes, it's characteristics of employees generally, or is this characteristics of the employees who filled out the survey?
This is the respondents to the survey. If you look at the totals,
All right, thank you.
Yeah, and
Likely correlation.
And Susan, I wanna try to check the pulse of the college council because I know, one, I left my glasses in my office. And two, even if I did have one, I'm not sure that that screen is the best to present it on. Would it be better if we had the handout that we were going to go through it?
So
You can't print the dashboards like that? Is that the?
it ends up being hundreds of pages. And
Okay,
especially if you take advantage of all of the filters and you do a version
so
that
it's more
shows each of the
interactive
characteristics.
online,
So yes,
and we're trying to practice being environmentally
yes,
sustainable.
and introduce the idea of using these dashboards. That if you have a question about, was showing age group, but if you have a question that's more relevant to employment type. Then you can shift the filter, you'll see that most of the responses are coming from faculty because that is the largest group over any of these things. With the mouse, there will be a prompt that gives you more detail. And the distribution has not changed a whole lot across the different administrations of the survey. And in fact, other than that one age spike, the results are really pretty remarkably consistent over time, considering all of the changes that our institutions have gone through.
And those results are maybe top 3.
Okay. So cultural responsiveness is one of them. If you look at the level of agreement with all of the items that make up that construct within the survey, and there's a list of them down here. This is remarkable. Our average has not budged over those 4 administrations. On the one hand, you can say, okay, we've been doing a lot of things around cultural responsiveness. Should we expect to see that change? But on the other hand, I think this is strongly related to our identity as an institution, and that people who come here are here in part because they recognize that's part of our culture. So that is one example. I don't think I'm going to go into more detail at this point in time unless there are specific questions. And again, our office is happy to support any of our committees or other groups that really wants to spend some time with this in more detail. If one of the senates or SPA wants to look at the results for a specific employment group within our population, we're happy to kind of help you walk through these dashboards and see how that happens.
So if I could, Susan, one of the things that came out and glaring, frankly, in the district's overall climate survey had to do with the view of the board. Now, one might draw that inference to COVID and some of the tough decisions that they were making. There's also, correct me, Michelle, that there's also a desire on the part of the chancellor to look at the questions and the tool moving forward. But to Susan's point, for our college's data, I agree that I didn't see anything that was glaring, which you can take a number of different ways. But given what's going on college campuses across the country, I would say that these results were very City College-like in terms of our focus on belonging and inclusion. Those things came through the results, but one could call to question the tool and the types of questions which the chancellor is working to identify possibly another 2.
Correct, so two things. We're bringing this out to you at the campus level also just to hear what your feedback is and what your experiences are. This dashboard should be intuitive. So I would love if this piques your interest, that you do some digging in it, and if you find something different, do let us know. Because these are the types of tools we want to start putting out there. In terms of the survey tool itself, absolutely, there will be a change. Because we do, as I think Susan mentioned, we do want to take a look at 2024, 25, and where are we as an institution? What kind of questions do we want to ask? Because what kind of data do we need, do you all need to inform, making continuous improvement efforts and changes? That should be the intent of the survey, as opposed to just looking at things, staying status quo. So absolutely.
Any questions for Susan or comments for the good of the order? Yes.
So, Marciano and I were just kind of huddling and saying, I believe this would be a great space. I'm gonna guess right now, maybe student journey for us to help look at the equity plan to maybe help us to take a look, see what needs to be updated. Just a good place for now.
And I think that's an excellent place, but understand this is the employee climate. Thank you. The employment climate survey, which is not to be confused with the student climate survey. But I would agree with you that it's still a good place. Where for me, this data is important, and frankly, as the president, I meet with groups who reference campus morale and what people think of the campus. And very often in an organization, those who morale is down usually are the loudest about it being a certain way. Whereas those who enjoy their job normally don't go around with the same level of energy to say, no, I enjoy this place. And so certainly we should always look at the response rates and the end in terms of these things. But overall, notwithstanding the very lively things that we are having discussions about, this district still remains a great place to work according to the people who respond to the survey. Now, we can go down a rabbit hole about surveys and respondents. But to be honest, we are looking for data, like we are looking for ways to assess morale, inclusion. But I'll just give an example of my own evaluation, my 360, where half the people will say I'm the best president ever, and the other half will say I don't know what I'm doing. When you get that kind of response rate back, it's harder to determine what things you should do to try to focus on those who aren't happy, right? So I want to be clear, there is a desire to focus on those who are not having a positive experience to see what can we do, right? That's not to say, oh, half the people say it's a good place, so forget the other half. But we want to try to figure out what things we could do for those who aren't having a positive experience with the organization. There is an absolute desire to do so. And we're open to feedback. Any other thoughts? Hearing none, thank you, Dr. Fishchild, and I was sharing with Angel that I just remember when I received my doctorate, my then college president said, you're going to be Dr. Shabazz one time, and then you go back to being Ricky. And at the time, I didn't understand why he did that, but now I do as a college president. Because the moment you put doctor in front of somebody's name and you're in a room full of people with doctors, that means we need to have doctors in front of everybody at this table who has a doctorate. So that is duly noted, and that is my pathway to a doctor who doesn't have doctorate. Rio.
I already know.
Oh, that's what I was saying.
Yeah,
It
oh,
just-
on the agenda.
Yes, no, that's why I said Dr. Carrillo, who is going to, with Dr. Murray, give an update on guided pathways. Welcome.
I worked really hard.
Yes, which is why if you put one person's there, you gotta put everybody down.
Where are you, I'm gonna go?
I'm gonna actually look. No,
Thank you.
thank you.
So, hi, everyone. Everybody wants to go.
Con el moño.
Sí, good
Talking about
afternoon.
our hair too.
I know, we have the same hairdo today. So good afternoon for those of you who have not seen me before. My name is Cristina Carrillo. I am one of the co-coordinators for Guided Pathways. And my colleague,
Susan Murray, Dean of Institutional Effectiveness and Co-Coordinator for Guided Pathways.
yes, so as of, I think, fall semester, we did convocation. And we had the opportunity to present to folks what we're doing, what have we been working on for Guided Pathways over the last couple of years. And it really re-energized a lot of the work that we've been doing. Because of that fall convocation presentation, we had an influx of folks that wanted to participate and that wanted to take part of some of the stuff that we're doing. So it was really good for our committee. We have a committee with at least 5 or 6 new members that are really bringing that energy and willing to get some work done. So it's been exciting. So we're gonna share a couple of things that we're working on. We can't go into detail of everything, just due to time,
I
but
love that picture, the
Well,
way you all integrated that in.
I know, right? That's our beautiful mural in the cafeteria, so. This would be the update for today, so if we can go to the next slide. So we're gonna go over the newsletter, the website, remind you all of our academic career pathways and the new class scheduling project that we're working. And I did realize that I missed one of the slides, so I'll just show you a different way, but next one. So what we did hear from a lot of folks during convocation is that they want to know more about Guided Pathways, what's happening on our campus, and how they can support. So one of the things that we have been doing was creating newsletters every month that are sent out by the communication office. Thank you, communications office and their team. So we're completing a video every month, and we're also doing a narrative of the video for folks who just want to skip the video and read it real quickly. As far as Guided Pathways, the last work plan, we had to look at integration of some of the things that are happening on our campus. So we're making sure that we're focusing on one theme per update, just to ensure that folks are getting the grasp of that one thing, and it's only like a minute long, so it won't take you too long. And now we're trying to incorporate other faces in mind. So my colleague, Sean Bacon, which is part of the Guided Pathways Committee, did the last update. So if you are interested in learning a little bit more, look at us at the newsletter, right? Every month. So next slide. So other things that we've been slowly but surely chipping on is on the functionality of our website. So we've been focusing on the usability of it, and we're now going to be moving also into the user experience. So we already had a couple of meetings with a company that does research on how the website actually functions and how we can make it better. So the product of this partnership with this company is going to be a site map so that we can reduce some of the pages on our website and make it more functional for our students and for us, because we also use it. So part of the research process is going to be looking at how folks actually use the website and taking that data in addition to the clicking data, how many people clicked on which pages are not being used, why do we have additional pages with links that are not connected and all that good stuff. So that's going to be through this company that we're working on. But tangible for now is this, that we have been working with the communications office and Modern Campus, which is the server for our website. And it's just going to be how do our students and how do we have the ability to search for the programs that we do offer on our campus. So currently on the left-hand side, we have the academic programs. That's how it is currently. If you go on our website, that's how our academic programs are listed. On the right side is going to be the beautification process and the accessibility process of how students are going to be able to search. So now they're going to be able to search by, and I highlighted those things because this was the first draft and we Cesar sent out the corrections. But instead of title, it's going to say program. Instead of type,
is going to say award. And we're taking out that third column, and then the last one is going to be school. And then over here on the left-hand side, area of interest is going to be our academic career pathways. And the program type, we don't have a BA, so we're gonna take that one out, but in the future, we'll have a BA. Oh, wait,
Yes.
no, but there should be, yes.
There's a BS.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We don't have a BA, we have.
The agenda.
Yeah. So just corrections, some corrections there. But as you can see, it's going to be easier to filter for students to know what degrees we offer and in what programs we actually offer. We're also trying to stay on top of being the programs that for this catalog year. So we have a lot of extra information on our website for degrees that don't exist anymore. So kind of that cleanup process. I also want to shout out the communication office. If you go to their page, the communication office page, there is a link on the left-hand side that says website feedback. It's up, right? I saw it yesterday, yeah. So website feedback. So if you see a page or information that is incorrect, you can submit like a ticket there or just instead of a Google form, and then we'll get to it. The communication office will get to it. The communications office will get to it at some point. But it is an effort of the whole community because it's almost impossible for one person to be able to monitor the whole website.
And it was tied to an effort that, we talked about in the convocation presentation that's happening at the district level. So not only for our webpage, but when students submit their application in CCC Apply and they select a program, we are moving away from the very long alphabetical list of our many different degree programs and going with the initial structure of academic career pathways to introduce those areas. And so when a student when those changes are implemented, and I think those are coming this summer, and a student goes through the application process and sees those academic and career pathways, then the way they see the program information organized on our website will match. So again, we're trying to build that consistency and remove some of those possible points of confusion or just too much information without it being structured. Because that's some of the feedback that we've gotten from folks about how to navigate this initial exposure to information about our degree and certificate programs.
Next.
Before we go on, let me commend you on this work. I'm impressed with what I see. And it aligns perfectly with what the theme is going to be for next year, this notion of reimagining. Right now, you're reimagining majors and what the website looks like and how people navigate it. So, Cesar, I'd like to capture that as part of my slide in my convocation, because for convocation fall of 24, it'll be what are we working on, right? And this aligns perfectly with what we're working on. That people will need to know that when they go to search these majors or this particular website, that it eventually will look different, and I think it looks a lot more cleaner. So I'm impressed. I was impressed with the PowerPoint when I saw it as well, just the way it's put together. I appreciate your efforts.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, same here, amazing work, thank you so much. It's nice to see it now put together, kind of alive. But in the slide before, I just had a quick question. Where it says program type, which I know you said is gonna be changed to award, is that gonna be spelled out there? Like
associates?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and then in parentheses, it's just the
That's what it
acronym,
is.
right? If I were a student, I still don't know what half of it is. I do know, but just saying.
Yeah, but thank you for that feedback. Yeah. And so eventually, once it's up, like, we have a couple more iterations of it, right? And then we can provide feedback.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you though.
good work though, amazing.
Yeah, and it's been a process.
Labor of
It's just
love.
like a process, that's all I gotta say.
I'd love to know the number when you get to it of programs majors that are inactive.
Oh, so we have that data already, and if we wanna go to the next slide. So the class scheduling workshop, we're gonna talk a little bit about that, but just a little background. This is one of the first projects that I think I walked into when I first started being, the coordinator. And we started off by doing a huge research undertake with, what is the name of the research people that we?
You see it?
No, the RP group.
The RP group, and basically to survey all of the classes that we've been offering for the last 3 years at that time, which is 2-3 years ago. And and kind of doing a cross examination of like classes that are in the catalog and that are posted, right? And the classes that actually have been offered. And there was quite a long list of classes that haven't been offered in the last 3 years, but are still posted in the catalog. And so we have students that are looking at the catalog or that are looking at the degrees that we have, and they're like, well, I can't complete my degree because I'm not offering, the classes are not being offered, right? So how are we posting these classes that it's been 3-4 years that they haven't been offered, yet they're still in our catalog? So we started that process of thinking about, okay, well, how do we start creating the vision of our VPI of creating a 2-year class schedule when we have classes that are still being offered, and there's all these different layers that we have to look at in order for us to create class schedules. And then when it comes to guided pathways, the main thing that Guided Pathways is known for across the state is like, well, create these plans for students, right? Create these program maps for students. But then the issue is like, let's create these program maps, but then not have the backup of, well, we are actually offering these classes. So I can tell the student, go to the website, follow a program map, and the student is trying to register for a class, the class is not being offered. So we decided like, well, how do we answer this question? And so we are working, and actually the person that's leading this effort, or the people that are leading this effort are Sean Bacon and Brad Prairie, which are already did this planning for their program. And it was a very intentional approach to planning, right? They looked at their students, who are their students? What are their programs? What is their program trying to offer, right? So having to change some of the classes and the modality that they offer to best serve their students, right? If they did their plan for 2 years, they decided, am I doing morning, afternoon classes? Am I doing weekend classes, online classes, in-person classes? So they did like a whole revamp of the program. And that is the ultimate goal for all of our programs, of course. But we're starting small. We're starting as in, okay, for each program, what classes do they want to offer in a 2-year plan? Now, the pilot program is only started with 4 programs, and he already started some of the workshop. There's an initial planning session, I guess, or just a starting session with the programs. And then he's going to do workshops with the groups that are participating. What is cool about this is obviously it can't just be a Guided Pathways effort, it has to be a campus effort, right? So with help of the Student Journey Committee, they also applied for a program, so the SEM program at the state level. So eventually these are gonna merge together so that we can all work together and we can get this stuff done. Do you wanna add some more things?
Sure, so as Christina said, you know, we are starting with this pilot and just looking at the courses in the discipline for those programs that are going to participate. There will need to be another layer for general education requirements, but we all know that those are in transition with the Cal-GATSI merger coming, and so we are not going to tackle that just yet, but feel that this approach and the tools and activities that Sean and Bradford have developed will be able to build from that. And then as the STEM Academy project goes forward, and as we learn from these pilot experiences, then, you know, starting next year, we can look at, you know, creating a strategy for expanding this across the college. Then there's another tool that we're gonna introduce into the mix. It's known as the Program Mapper. It was developed kind of in the early days of Guided Pathways, with some folks at Bakersfield College. And has gone through several iterations and improvements since then. And that, the end product of that Program Mapper tool is creating those student-facing maps. But there are, back up a step, that software platform is now being managed at the state level by the Foundation for Community Colleges, which means it is available for us to use at no cost as a California Community College. So when it was first introduced, there was a pretty significant investment. And that is no longer the case. So we thought this would be a good time to investigate how to start this. And yes, those program maps are the end result, but they are created through an extensive process that has been developed over the 4 or 5 years that colleges have been using this tool now. There are templates. There is another sort of round of that matching program requirements and things that are presented in the maps with our official curriculum inventory so that we can identify any of those discrepancies, anything that's outdated, and make sure that we go in and fix those. And there are a lot of templates that can be helpful in just organizing all the information and serving as a foundation for those discussions. So we've got what Sean and Bradford have been working on. They're going to be connected to this SEM project as well. And then we have the opportunity to bring the Program Mapper into the mix whenever that is helpful in facilitating these conversations. So the ultimate goal is that we will get through all of it. You know, we know that there will be adjustments as things change. We have, you know, new degrees and certificates coming in all the time. So it's going to be dynamic. It is not going to be a once and done kind of effort because, you know, our offerings are always changing.
So I would invite you all back to work with Angel in the beginning of the semester. I would love, Caesar, for you to work with Dr. Carrillo for either the August or September campus newsletter to provide an update in addition to their newsletter. There's a lot of work going on. I see a lot of progress certainly in the last year and a half, if not 2. And I've been excited about the work, very impressive. Thank you for your leadership. Dr. Carrillo and I joked about her lifetime appointment as the Guided Pathways coordinator. So keep up the great work. We do see it and appreciate it, that this is going to help students ultimately. I'm going to move us along only because we're trying to get
2 things from it, if I can, just because you just said something that not all of us knew that Dr. Carrillo was continuing on as the Guided Pathway coordinator. She mentioned to me on Friday, so I'm just putting it out there.
And I didn't know either. I was just trying to be fun, kind of. When she didn't laugh, I figured I must have. So.
I'm just putting it out there because that's some vital information, right? So just sharing that piece.
Yeah, so for now, I will continue at least 1 more year.
Yes.
But then we'll have to
thank you.
communicate because we'll communicate about it. We'll do another meeting.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
I have an open door policy.
Yes. That just wanted, there's more.
Yeah.
Not lifetimes.
I was
Not
joking with the lifetime.
Lifetime.
When I didn't hear anybody laugh, I realized I might have walked into something that I wasn't
I'll sign for a year.
aware of. Lifetime.
Thank you.
Moving, no, thank you. You all did a great job. Want to turn over to Marco to provide an update on professional development.
All right, yeah, thank you very much. You should have, hopefully, Tilly helped me out, or she's gonna pass out. Just 2 pieces of paper I'm gonna provide for some context. They're not particularly fancy here, but one just has just a list of kind of just a real bird's eye view of what we've been doing in professional learning, and that's with the council, with my team in the Professional Learning Center, with our work groups and meeting with a bunch of different folks, to kind of put together really, a few different items. The first one on the list, and it's the second piece of paper that you will get from Tilly, is the strategic plan that we created for the next 3 years. You have the narrative portion. Our strategic plan really has 3 components to it. A logic model that gives you the big overview for the next 3 years of the things that we want to be able to accomplish. And that really provides the outcomes that we're looking for. The short term, mid-range, and then our long-term outcomes, and everything else in our plan really all map to those. Then we have plan, which is divided up into each year 1, 2, and 3, and those outline all the activities that we anticipate doing in each year, and they build off one another, and those map all the way to our outcomes. And then finally, what you have in front of you is more kind of just what would be the cover page, the narrative description of the purpose of our strategic plan, and then really what its purpose is, and then how it maps to. We try to be intentional about it mapping to the district strategic plan, our strategic priorities of the college, and then our different initiatives that we have. And those map to different elements of our strategic plan so that we can really explain when we do this and accomplish this particular thing, it is moving us forward in this way that we've already outlined. And then I provide a brief timeline of the different events that we did this semester in order to produce this document. So that's one thing we worked on. You have it in front of you. I'm open for questions. We don't have to discuss it right now, but you have the narrative portion there. So that's what we've been working on.
Yeah, Marco.
Yeah.
Take a breath.
Yeah, I know there's a lot, I know, I'm sorry.
No. And I want to give you your due time. You know, we're trying to get to the Veteran Center event, but that's not your fault that it's scheduled during college council. So you have the time you need.
Thank you. So we have the strategic plan.
I'm like, you're a marathon runner or cross country. You were running the 40, right?
Yeah, Elvis says that, she calls me the Flash, because I move so quickly, which is true, so I got it, so thank you. So we do have the narrative for the strategic plan. I'm looking, if you have any corrections or any questions, please let me know. But this is what's gonna really drive us over the next 3 years. And we'll be working with Susan's office to help us with assessments for our outcomes so that we can be intentional about that. What we're doing is making an impact at the student level. For that. So that's the strategic plan. I can give an update for the timetable on the renovation for the Elva Salinas Professional Learning Center. We have 2 phases. Phase 1 is really the renovation of the floor as it is now with furniture and paint and getting space functional so that we're ready to open in the fall. It may not be ready for a week of professional learning or flex week, but it will be ready in the fall. For phase 2 is really we're working with the architects on what we'd like to present in the bond measure, and that's kind of a more ongoing assignment that we're having, and we'll come back and go through the process to see if it's something that we'd like to add to the bond. So those are phase 1 and phase 2, and I'm working with our vice presidents on that. They've been extremely supportive, helping us identify the funding and the timeline and connecting us with the district. The dedication ceremony for the Elva Salinas Professional Learning Center, we've just penciled in October. We believe that's going to be the time that we will be ready. We'll know in midsummer, but that's the time that we are going to plan for that. And we have a group that's already meeting in order to plan that event and get it out in time for campus. For Week of Professional Learning, that is Flex Week. So we have 2 of them each year in the fall and in the spring. We are just going to be renaming it Week of Professional Learning, and there'll be the description that this is Flex Week. But what we're trying to do with that is make it more of an event for that particular week. Just trying to bring in as many people as we can, faculty for sure, because Flex applies to faculty, but for all the employees on campus, and have the themes in our strategic plan kind of map those elements in the Week of Professional Learning. We will create a program that we're testing out with Classified Appreciation Week. We'll create a program that I'll send to Caesar's office to help cityfy and make it very nice. And that way we can get it out really about a month in advance each week. to faculty and campus in order to be able to choose their event. And then all the other events that we've been managing, the flex calendar will get added as they have always been, but we'll have a program that we can use to identify key events and professional learning opportunities during that week. And really the centerpiece being convocation. The other thing that we're excited about that we're continuing to move on is what we're just right now calling the Combined Travel Conference and Workshop Committee, because it describes exactly what it supports. That is a travel committee that is for both faculty, which we all currently have with a funding source, and for classified supervisors and managers, another one. The vice presidents, again, have been very supportive in identifying an interim fund that can support that in our first year for this travel committee. And then we'll be working on a longer process on identifying those travel conference funds that do exist on campus, but they're spread out amongst all the different departments, working with all the budget managers on essentially the amount and what can we work with if we have this central committee to be able to support really equal access to the funds. Because it's one thing, I've only been here 4 months, but one thing really the classified professionals have said is we want to travel, but we want to know where's the funding and can the process be simpler? And what we said is, why do we have 2 different processes? If there's one for faculty that's fairly straightforward, we wanted to create one that's similar for everybody else. And so that's what we're doing with this particular.
Yeah, and I would be mindful that in the pursuit to do that, the challenge is that the classified nor the managers or supervisors have legislative travel built into ed code. And it gets a little complex with that, Marco, because most of the classified, not all, but most of them work in programs that have budgets. Most of the faculty don't work in programs that have budgets. And so just be mindful you're running that. I think Marciano would be the best person, but certainly all 3 of the vice presidents would need to see that before you, because I wouldn't want to set up an expectation on the part of non-faculty, because this would apply to managers also, who may not oversee a budget. Whereas there's actually legislation that created that committee for the faculty. That's where this gets a little tricky.
Yeah, and those conversations we'll have, this is kind of just our idea, and we still have to discuss with the budget managers about the feasibility of doing that, and if we need to pivot a little bit, we will. But I think the idea of that central committee to help do that, even if it can't go the way we envision it would be helpful. But yes, we will have those conversations. Thank you. And then the last one is just our New Hires Institute. We completed our last session this past Friday. Really, in terms of attendance, the cohort really that comes out the strongest is the one that started in January with me. That group attends, they have attended all the sessions, and really the ones in the fall that would have been part of that, we get less attendance from. It has been an item that our team has known about for a while, is how do we get that continued attendance really over 2 semesters to complete the Institute. We have several ideas that we're going to implement starting in the fall. Really part of it is communicating with supervisors and managers, really just having that conversation to begin with. But we also think with some programmatic changes to the New Hires Institute, one of which involves bringing in both the classified, in particular classified Senate and academic Senate, and some other groups like the chairs, our curriculum committee, to help have them be invested in the New Hires Institute, because those are their individuals and they have really the expertise that they can share in that first year or those first 2 semesters. So we'd like to be able to have a close relationship with them in developing those modules and then implementing them at our New Hires Institute. And our team will be able to work with our executive cabinet on that, the culture and belonging component and those larger themes for the campus. We'll be able to help design and deliver those. So we have some ideas in place that we're going to be working on over the next year. So those are really, I could have chosen a lot more, but these are some of the bigger ones that we have that are going to start getting off the ground with more purpose starting next year.
Yeah, and I've been sharing with Marco, how very impressed I've been with his leadership in this area. I see movement at a rate that I haven't seen in some time. And so thank you for all of your leadership, dedication. Also want to acknowledge Elma Salinas, who is mentoring Marco, is along, have been along the way as well. Any questions for Marco? Looking forward to seeing the dedication date and working with Angel in my office for the Elma Salinas Professional Learning Center. Last, and actually not least, because that's some updates after, want to bring up David Kinnemer to provide an update on the Bachelor's of Science degree in cyber defense. Good to see you.
So let's have an exercise. Everybody turn this way.
We could. I thought you were gonna say stand up and stretch.
Please do.
Yeah.
So I apologize.
Yeah, and we can introduce Mark also,
Yeah,
who is standing in as our dean over the area.
I said.
Yes, so Mark's our acting dean here for the next few months.
And congratulate Jesse, who just,
Yes.
welcome.
Joy.
Shout out to Jesse,
Yeah.
who's listening at home. I don't know.
I hope you're not.
I hope he's not.
So I'm a little bit congested, so I apologize for that, if I'm not loud enough or I can't hear very
Hear
well.
you just fine.
But I just wanted to give you guys an update on where we're at with our bachelor's program. And where we're at with our first cohort. And
Yes.
Thank you. So just a little catch up and reminder. So for our bachelor degree programs here in California, we're 2+2 model. So meaning that you have to complete the associate program and then go to the bachelor's degree program. We also currently require students complete the CSU or the IDETSI general education patterns. Hopefully that will change, but right now that's just the way it is at the current moment. All of our curriculum is approved and in the system and hunky-dory. And we're good to go for financial aid. We've been added to the PPA. Our application for our veterans and F1 had to wait for the catalog to come out, but that's been submitted. And we expect to hear back from that relatively soon in the next month or so. And we are also finalizing our scheduling process and all of our admissions roundup. So basically it'll go by groups for the first year, so students be put into a special group to be enrolled into the courses. And then in their senior year, they'll be enrolled via milestones. So next, please. So cohort. So we had 87 valid applications for our first cohort, which is really good. And after our initial screen to see where students were at with prerequisites, we have 51 students that we extended offers to. Right now we have 42 confirmed as of today. And so that's good. So to kind of have a comparison around the state, the average is about 23 students, 24 students for the cohorts. So we have a nice cohort size. And in the future here, the near future, we'll be adding a 4-year cohort to go along with that to help kind of stabilize a pipeline of students going in. And what that does is it also allows us a way to have City College students prioritized into there. So the students that would be at City College will have their seats guaranteed, but it won't be the full cohort. It'll just be a piece of a cohort. So we'll still have students that will be able to come in as juniors and apply to our program as an open college. We also have some FF&E that's been ordered. So sprucing up the space a little bit. I don't know if anyone's been over to the BT building, but it can be kind of concrete feeling and cold. And so we have some furniture that we've added or we will be adding. And we recently have some quotes on some wall wraps. So hopefully we'll be able to get that stuff in time for the students coming for fall. And we've also applied for a couple of funding things, one from the community project funding through Congressman Peters' office, and another through Regional Strong Workforce Funding. And so those things will help us establish more modern and state-of-the-art cyber labs that will allow students to better bridge the skills from what they're learning in the classrooms to the real world. Susan, thankfully, Dr. Murray was able to pull some demographics and information for us on the last minute. So we can see, and sorry, these, yeah, you can't see this very well, but that's okay. I'll break it down for you. The majority of the students, almost 75%, identified as males, and the rest were female and non-binary. For our age group, really dominated in that 25 to 39 bracket. And then we did have a pool of 40 up, about 8 students, I think, were in the 40 up range. And then a few in the 18 to 24. And then our ethnicities were dominated by the Latinx and the Asian American calendar, and then followed by our multicultural, and then white and Black and African American students.
So percentage-wise, how many Latinx students are in your program?
So they're the larger piece right here. So I'm trying to remember off the top of my head the exact number. I think actually I have the number.
No, it's okay. It's almost half, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a good portion that were Latinx, and then followed by the API group. And then yeah.
About 40.
So one, kudos to you, David. Let's give David a round.
Yeah.
I am so happy, given where we started and where we are, and frankly where we're going. David and his team, with in partnership with the district, presented to Tilly and I don't know, a couple months back, about the possibility of expanding the promise to our bachelor's. I'm happy to report to you, David, that discussion came up today in Chancellor's Cabinet, and there is a very good chance that the state is going to take on that. We brought in just rough estimates based on my pencil, nearly $600,000 worth of funding for this program, between the San Diego Foundation, between the district allocating, and I found out today, I didn't get a chance to tell Tilly, that money will be in your budget in the CAM for the bachelor program. And then we have a full-time faculty, thanks to the leadership of Sunan, the chairs, for recognizing that this needed to be a priority. So I think if we added that up, that's about $600,000 worth of funding coming to this bachelor's program. I am absolutely, David, going to want to have a slide on this, on what we're working on for convocation, but also would formally like to invite you to present to the Board of Trustees during our October board meeting on campus. And this PowerPoint is perfect, just the way you got it, with the addition of the percentage numbers built in. Because in full transparency, I'm colorblind, so I can't see the colors as it is, so the percentages would help. But this would not have been possible without you, and then us getting behind you once your passion came through that this could happen. This program opens the door for the likelihood of a bachelor's in nursing, because this is as close to being able to duplicate, that's not duplicating, that any of the other programs in the state have been. And so we're already scheduling discussions about having David and his team meet with Dee and the nursing team. This is legacy. This is we've already started to hear at our graduations, the number of our current students who are going into the cyber program. And I say all of that to say that I've been bugging the heck out of Tilly with the college admissions background in me, wanting to make sure that it's special for these students when they receive their acceptance letters or whatever the next step. Like, I want to roll out all the bells and whistles to include revisiting, going to a couple of students' houses and handling like.
To be fair, you were really like, hey, Ricky wanted to get in the car and drive around to students' houses.
I mean, this is big, and it really took Susan, we were working on, I think, the accreditation, and she was saying. That, you know, we're no longer just an associate's degree granting institution, like we're granting bachelor's degrees and we should celebrate that because we're one of a few colleges in the state. First with cyber, we opened the door for other community colleges to do cyber.
We're still the only with cyber.
Yes.
So they're still in their deliberations trying.
Yeah, they're still fighting,
Yeah.
like the same fight that we had to. So again, David, I can't thank you enough for your leadership, and I hope, frankly, and I pray that you felt the support that we've been able to go out and get the financial resources when you brought it to our attention, what you need.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as you said, it's a little team.
Yeah, I hope the walls are wrapped and the furniture is here by the start. I have trauma around furniture, David. I have trauma around furniture.
I just wanted to add to what Ricky's saying. I don't know, you know, I work at the state level with the Academic Center for California Community Colleges, and you know, there is a big advocacy to get more bachelor degrees, and especially the bachelor in nursing, but your bachelor's always comes out in the conversation. So I just wanted to know that even at the state level, this bachelor's degree is well recognized. And I always feel very proud that it's City, and I get to brag, that's my college, that's my colleague. So I wanted to know that this is a huge deal for our students, especially students of color. So I appreciate it more.
Yeah, and these are well-paying, and sorry, Tilly, I saw your hand, these are well-paying jobs,
Yep.
right? This is gonna place students with a cost that I'm still in denial about what they're going to pay, to place them into six-figure year jobs. And to put it in context for our guest, Patrick, we literally took on more so the CSU than the UC. The UC really didn't care, but we literally had to take on, feels like for about a year and a half, the California.
Well, we
State.
started, when did we start? The legislation was in 2020, right? Then it got approved late 2020. We applied at the beginning of 2021 and kind of drug itself through. So we've been going at it for over
Literally.
2.5 years at this point, you know?
Letters of support.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so kudos to everyone involved. Tilly.
I just want to thank you, David, and thank you, Mark. And I just want to echo what Ricky said, that it's a big deal. We do want to celebrate, but David, that is not on you. I've talked to Mark already and we find out Mark has some event background, so I'm gonna be leaning on him because that's not what I need you to concentrate on, David. I need you to concentrate on the classes.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
Mark is here to help, and that's what I'm also just public.
And Caesar and Carissa, there should be a team
And-
working on this.
Yes. We do, we will. So-
We have a couple of events that we have in mind,
And
so.
the other last thing I wanted to bring up is, there's been a lot of work from your part of it, but there is also a lot of background work that the district is
Yes.
doing.
uh-huh.
And right
Kelly
now,
has.
there's a lot of people out there. David, I don't want you to worry. We will figure it out, how to get somebody enrolled in your classes. They're still gotta build the classes, they're trying to figure that out.
We should have that by this Friday.
Bring back the old school ad slips.
Yeah, we're
So,
really
yeah,
close,
we
so.
are. But just even getting that kind of stuff, I know has been a lot, I know you take it on that stress, but don't need to, you do have a team.
We had a good meeting yesterday about getting classes scheduled. We're right there.
Okay, I just wanna make sure. that
You're gonna make it easy for nursing. We'll figure it all out by the time.
Laid out, yeah.
By the time they get around to this, but you know, kudos and
Thanks for having me.
and we're still writing. We're still seeking additional funding to help support this. One of the things I do as a college president is we're out there giving tours for the San Diego Foundation and other granting organizations. So I'm happy that we've been able to bring in nearly $600,000 worth of funding. The position has posted.
No, I don't think it's posted just yet, almost. It's right there. It's almost there.
Yeah, so help is on the way.
It's on the way.
Help is on the way. And again, kudos to the faculty and the chairs who saw. And you know, and I'll tell a joke, because you didn't know this, but I had the speech ready for Sunal. And she walked in and said, we It's number one now, like I see, this of the weight of the world was off of my shoulders. So thank you to the chairs for seeing the need for this. This is legacy for this college, to be able to have the first bachelor's degree.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Any questions? Yeah, David, any questions? Thank you, David.
Amazing work,
Party work, party work.
amazing work.
Any updates for the good of the order? I do have some updates. Any updates from anyone else?
Yeah, very quickly, this will be for classified that are watching online. We're gonna be launching registration for Classified Appreciation Week this week. Registration will be available on the Classified Senate webpage as well as the DL. So that's gonna be the week of June 10th to June 13th. I encourage you as a classified to work with your colleagues and your support managers and supervisors to see about participating in these activities we have for you.
Yes, boundaries workshop, what, why, and how. Just a plug.
And do.
Yes.
Any other updates? I have a couple. Want to remind us, and Angel will send this out in an email, that we voted last meeting to meet over the summer. There are a ton of things going on. We're in the middle of hiring. We want to keep people updated. The governor's May revised came out favorably for community colleges. We are not done though. We still now go through the legislative process. There is still a very real matter involving those programs that have not expended their resources. And so please use your resources accordingly. We voted to meet over the summer, June 25th, July 23rd, and August 6th. So Angel will send that out in an email to make sure you should have it in your calendar already. If not, we'll make sure you do. I just received an email from Adon reminding us that we need volunteers for our amazing commencement that is taking place next Thursday. Please, we need all the help we can to celebrate with our amazing students. I want to thank Marciano and Adon for hosting the graduation walkthrough yesterday. Had a great turnout there. We need volunteers, please, if you can volunteer. I've offered to close the campus so that those offices can help volunteer. We will always keep the welcome center up because I'm respectful that people may take off to come get some work done and still need some assistance.
So we're closing to go volunteer.
Yes, yes.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, if you're not volunteering, we don't need to close.
We're not closing.
Yeah.
Cause I just wanna be clear, cause I'm being lots of, I've already gotten a billion emails after the sent out an email that we're clarifying that campus is not closed.
The campus
It is
is
an
not
instruction
closed.
day, we are open,
Yes.
but offices that are going to go and volunteer can close to go.
So this is why you have, this is why you have vice president, right? I make an announcement, then they get all the. Ricky said, yeah, those offices who want to help volunteer can close to do so. This is not we're closing the campus arbitrarily. Campus is open, it's instructional day, people have finals and the like. Thank you for that, Marciano. I wonder why you was over there twitching while I was speaking.
My emails were like, did Ricky just say we're closed? I'm like, no, he did not.
Those offices who would like to volunteer, because we need 100+ people to help, can close. You cannot arbitrarily close and decide you don't want to work that day, because we need help in Balboa Park. Want to acknowledge Dr. Camarina. Hope I'm saying his name correctly, who has volunteered to be the PTK advisor next year. So we've been wanting to bring back PTK. Let's give him a round of applause. Professor Meehan, if you're watching, PTK is coming back. And we've been working, and thank you to Missiel who agreed to be able to do so. It has been an exciting and intense spring. I hope everyone takes a much needed vacation. This is our last official meeting of the academic year. Thank you all for what you do. I love this college. I love this team. And speaking of love, I'm going to go support the veterans in their end of the year celebration. Enjoy the rest of the week, and we will see you on June 25th. Take care, everyone.
I'll see you now.